Thank you, Fernando. Thank you for taking us step by step through the Diamond Sutra. That was very inspirational. Do you want to open it up for discussion? What is your?
Sure. What time is it? Yeah.
It's 8:20. So do you want to have like 10, 15 minutes of discussion before we close?
Yes. It's fine.
Okay. So thank you. Anybody please unmute when you're ready to speak. Elena bowing out.
John bowing in. Boy, my emptiness getting emptier. Incidentally, my Dharma name, the first one, Ming, in Chinese is the character, the sun and the moon together, that means bright. And the second one, Heng, means emptiness. So in the context, I think it means like clear or truly understand about emptiness. So I'm kind of joking when people in my temple asked, you know what your Dharma name means? I said, okay. When I was a kid, my granddad brought me to a temple, and the master there asking me, you want to take 3 refuges? Well, actually, the word emptiness in Chinese, literally, when it pronounced in Vietnamese, it means no. So when the master asked me, you want to take the 3 refuges? I said, no. You want to eat vegetables? I said, no. You want to live in the temple? No. So he says, you look right, so it's me. And you always says no, so it's emptiness. So, but when I start studying the Dharma and start doing meditation, I really contemplate and trying to understand what the Dharma name Minh Không means. And one day, out of the blue, there are 2 verses, after the meditation session, 2 verses drop into my mind. And it's like gathas. It says, understanding the Sangha, understanding the Dharma, understanding the Buddha, you would understanding the whole universe. So the word understanding, that mean about the Sangha, mean about the Dharma, mean about the Buddha, you know all the universe. So the second verse is, I think it's like feeling is emptiness. Perception is emptiness. And I think there's one of the 5, all others. Once you understand those, you are clear about emptiness. So in those 2 verses, there are like Ming at the first sentence, and then Không at the bottom. So like my Dharma is okay. About the sutra, I think the very first opening when Subhuti kneeled down, I think the precursor to that, I think this is one of the, let me open that up. One of the Dharma I preaching about this sutra, they explain that the precursor to that is where Subhuti saw the Buddha after baking bowl going back and eat. So I read, this is one of the sutra I think taught in Korea. It got both the Sanskrit, English, and Korean on it. So it's a after collect the food, the Buddha returned from the city and partook of it. When he had finished eating, he put away his bowl and shawl, for he was a person who had given up eating in the latter part of the day. Lord Buddha then washed his feet and seated himself on a cushion that had been set forth for him. He crossed his legs in the full lotus position, straightened his back, and placed his thought into the state of contemplation. So Subhuti, when he saw that, because he's the specialist on emptiness, he sees the Dharma of the Diamond Sutra right there in the Buddha actions without words. So he kneeled down and asked for the benefits of all the Sangha there, so that the Buddha would answer and explain, so that we got the sutra today to study, to know more about the nature of emptiness. And I think in the past, when I started, I Googled up all the empty all on the internet. I narrowed down to the two sutra. One is the Heart Sutra. The second is the Diamond Sutra. I think these two, one is kind of like the teaching of the nature, the theory of everything is of emptiness nature, and this Diamond Sutra is teaching about how we practice that to be in this duality world, how the Bodhisattva cannot be able to use both. One is the true reality world, the unconditioned world, why he's still living in the conditioned world, how he can connect the two in all the actions.
Heather, you're muted.
Okay, thank you. I got a huge sense of relief from this teaching. And I think the relief came from being told that we don't have to discriminate constantly. And I think in our, you know, and I think in the lives that we are forced to live outside of the teachings, so much is about discrimination. We're asked to discriminate constantly, and it's exhausting. I think for many of us, our jobs depend on our ability to make correct discriminations. If we go grocery shopping, we have to choose between products and make discriminations. When we drive, we have to follow rules and make discriminations about what's happening on the road around us, and you know, do the right thing according to those choices and discriminations. And I think that's what one reason meditation brings so much pleasure is, because it's this time when we get to be free from those requirements. And I also thought about that with what you read, Fernando, about Thich Nhat Hanh out in the woods, that being out like that is a time when you can absorb, but you don't have to, no discriminations are required. And those moments are so precious in our society, in our lives. And I don't know, I found just a lot of comfort and guidance and the repetition of that teaching throughout your presentation, Fernando. So I'm so grateful for that. Yeah, they're going out.
We have to live in our current world. The thing is to be able to not get attached to our notions and our discrimination that comes naturally. Whether it's male, female, tall, short. We discriminate all the time. And I think that if we try to look at things and realize how much we are all alike, realize how much we have in common with everything in nature, in common with each other, it just opens up our heart and creates a certain amount of freedom, which is maybe what you're feeling. You feel freer. Emptiness is like a freedom because it's a boundlessness, it's a limitless type of existence. And there are some Christian thinkers that consider the equivalent of God is emptiness. That emptiness is just, it's an indescribable type of unlimited type of entity that we're all part of. If you feel part of it, you get a certain sense of relief and freedom, that you don't are not attached by all these things that tie you down, all these feelings or fears and ideas that get us stuck.
Thank you.
John Bang Yen again. I forgot about one little kind of funny Zen story related to this Diamond Sutra. I think earlier, Fernando, you mentioned about the commentaries of Master Huan Hua of the City of 10,000 Buddhas. I think in that commentary, it mentioned this story. It also appeared in some of the Zen Kuan book. So let me read this just little story. The San Zhuangjian was a great scholar of the Diamond Sutra, but he was not a Chan practitioner, basically Zen. He was traveling south in the search of the Dharma, carrying his commentaries on the Diamond Sutra with him. In the course of his travel, he came across an old woman on the roadside selling tea and rice cakes. He asked her, "Who are you?" She responded, "I am an old woman selling rice cake." When he asked if he could buy some refreshment from her, she inquired, "Venerable priest, what are you carrying in your bag?" He said, "I'm a scholar of the Diamond Sutra, and here I have all my notes and commentaries." Hearing this, the old woman said, "I have heard that according to the Diamond Sutra, past mind is ungraspable, present mind is ungraspable, and future mind is ungraspable. So where is the mind that you wish to refresh with rice cakes, O scholar?" If you can answer this, you may buy a rice cake from me. If not, you'll have to go elsewhere for refreshment. The Shan was unable to reply. The old woman then directed him to a Zen master nearby. The Zen burned on his note and commentary the next day. John, yeah.
Tai tells the story, which I am sure he's told you and Fablan multiple times, about the novice or the monk that goes to his superior and says, by the way, I really believe in emptiness. The teachers are empty, empty of any value. The work is empty. I don't need to do anything further to get enlightened. I believe in emptiness. So the master called him closer. He said, "Come closer. Come a little closer to me. Let me see what you're saying." And he grabs his nose and twisted it. And he said, "Well, which empty person twisted your nose?" Oh, so that we have to live in the real world of our historical reality. But we need to keep the eye on the ultimate reality of the world. And I think if we do that, man, we get rid of a lot of suffering. If you look at the world through mystical eyes, you all of a sudden, a lot of suffering, goes away.
Greg bowing in. A couple of years ago, I was reading the Diamond Sutra, and I came across a definition that I just wanted to share. It's the definition of what is non-conceptual. And this is not necessarily from a Buddhist point of view. This is from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. It defines non-conceptual mental content as those mental states that can represent the world, even though the bearer of those mental states need not possess the concepts required to specify their content. Which is something I think I had to sit with that for a while before I actually understood it. But it is it's not really faith, but it's akin to faith, or maybe it is faith. I don't know. But I thought that was a great expression. Craig bowing out.
Sorry, Craig, Jeff, could you read that again?
Sure. This is from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, which defines non-conceptual mental content. Are those mental states that, quote, can represent the world, even though the bearer of those mental states need not possess the concepts required to specify their content.
Thank you.
Sure.
I think it sounds like a philosopher trying to explain away emptiness.
Elena Baunin. So I love this sutra because from the very first time I read it, it really struck me with the you mentioned earlier how this is more of a metaphysical sort of sutra, and with that, I think it struck me because this is where the Buddha talks about or implies or teaches that anyone can become enlightened at any time instantaneously, and where you don't need to go through lives after life after life trying to become an arhat, provided you are a bodhisattva. I don't want to say follower, but you live the life of a bodhisattva with the precepts, with compassion, with non-discrimination. You could become enlightened in this life, in this moment. And, that totally opens a whole world of hope for me, because, I know I will not become enlightened, but who knows? I could get struck with a thunder of, brilliancy from the Buddha, and there I will be. But when he talks about wisdom, and somebody, I think it was you, Fernando, or somebody else said that wisdom is impermanent. I think also enlightenment is impermanent if we are in this life, because of all the conceptions and perceptions and influences. So it's a state that needs to be nurtured, but not nurtured. Just feel it, live it, and treasure it, I think. Elena bowing out.
John Bang Yin. Another thing I remember is that in Tibet, they translate this sutra as the Thunderbolt Sutra. It's like a flashlight in the night that shines everything. So several years ago, when my mom passed away, every night I chant the Amitabha Sutra for during the first 49 days period. And I asked that Tibetan monk, and he said that you better chant also the Thunderbolt Sutra. I said, so I looked up the Google and I couldn't find what the Thunderbolt Sutra is. And then luckily I ran across some Tibetan sites and they mentioned the Sanskrit word, said, oh, this is a Diamond Sutra. So I asked the Tibetan monk, is this a Diamond Sutra? He said, yeah. We call it Thunderbolt Sutra. So I ended up chanting both the Amitabha Sutra and the Diamond Sutra every night for the 49 days. And when I about reaching the 30th day, during one of my meditation, I saw some sign about my mom. Happy sign. So I stand that to 100 days. So for 100 days, I eat vegetable only, and I chant both the Amitabha Sutra and the Diamond Sutra. And it turns out the Diamond Sutra is very, very strong. One day I was meditating, and there's a figure. It's beautiful, white hair, old guy shows up. And I was thinking whether this is real or not. And I thought about the Diamond Sutra, and poof, he turned into white smoke. Then I said, oh my God, he haven't done anything. I tried to hurt him already. So later on, the Tibetan monk said that try to do the Surangama Sutra. The Surangama Sutra would reveal the true nature of everything. Diamond Sutra probably too strong. So from that on, anything weird happened during my meditation, I try to remind me of the Surangama Sutra that would reveal whatever the real scene would be. I don't know whether that's true or not. Just finding out.
Fernando Bowing, I think that when we talked about the first slide, I showed the Vajra Chadika, which is the first name of the sutta. Vajra has two meanings: diamond and thunderbolt in Sanskrit. So that's where they get that name of the Thunderbolt Sutra. But I think the Dhamma Sutra is not one that I would recommend you sit and study it, but instead you sit, recite it, or chant it. I think it's better for that, in that to absorb things, because you don't use your thinking mind trying to figure out all the connections of all the negations. Just let it sink into you in a different way.
Jeff bowing in. So thank you very much, Fernando. I really enjoyed the way you presented this. To give us time to read it, and then sounding the bell, and to kind of think about each stanza, because each one is a bit of a koan in itself, and it takes a little time. You cannot read it quickly with much hope to grasp it, unless you are struck by that thunderbolt. I did, there were a lot of things in it that made me think, and it's been a little while since I've read this at all. I don't think I've read the whole thing, so I'm excited to. I'm sure I have it on my bookshelf, so I'm sorry. I'm looking to my left here because I've got a separate screen where I actually kind of did a little screen grabs of some of the things you displayed, and the one many things struck me, but one that has a lot of meaning for me was just the simple one. Someone who looks for me in form or seeks me in sound is on a mistaken path and cannot see the Tathagata. Tathagata. And I think it made me kind of immediately kind of the empty of everyone, not just the Tathagata, including, don't go looking for them somewhere. You will not find them, but they're there. They are, they're with you, in you, and so that's a comfort in itself. So thank you.
Respected Thai, dear Sangha, Fernando, oh my gosh, thank you so much. It was so, wow, so just calming and breathing and beautiful. Oh my gosh, I feel so nourished and just healed and transformed. Thank you, thank you. Um, I, when we invite the incense, and recite the Gatha, there's a phrase, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. And we could have read, I mean, how many decades ago have we read this? And it's still, it speaks and speaks, and we learn, and the extremes of nothingness and everything at the same time. It's just so brilliant and beautiful. And you were saying to read it and let it absorb. What really clicked with me today, as I've recited and read so many times in the Heart Sutra, is when Avalokiteshvara is saying to Shariputra, this body itself is emptiness, and emptiness itself is this body. A does not equal A equals A. That just hit me really powerfully today, and I thank you so much. Thank you, dear Fernando. Thank you, dear Sangha.
So Jeff bowing in. I just forgot to say how grateful I am to see everyone and to be here with you. It's just a wonderful gift.
Elena Bauinin, anyone who hasn't shared that would like to share, there's still a little bit of time. Going once. Going twice.
Just one suggestion. I mean, if you want to, besides the translations that you heard, if you want to hear some refreshing type of presentations, go to everydayzen.org. Look under teachings for Ketsu Norman Fisher, and look up Diamond Sutra. He has a series of talks on the Diamond Sutra that were a little different and sort of nice to hear.
So, Fernando, would you invite the bell for us to close? And would you like to share the merits?
Sure. May we share the merit or whatever merit we have obtained through this talk and discussion with all beings living and not living. And may we be able to relieve suffering in the world.
Thank you everyone for coming. This has been very, very nourishing, and it's a good way to open up the spring and to get ready for our retreat on the 27th, 8th, no, 28th.
28th through the
28th.
3rd. Yeah.
And I'm so looking forward to us getting together and having some more meaningful conversations just like this one. And thank you so much, Fernando. This has been really a wonderful presentation on the Diamond Sutra. Thank you so much. We will see you in the retreat.
Have a good night, everybody. Yeah.
Good night.